and we continue the journey that leads to the realization of your American dream. I'm your host, John Dye, and this is the American Contractor Show, where we explore and learn what it takes to be a successful contractor in today's world, providing you behind-the-scenes access to some of the best minds, tools, and companies in contracting. Join us and elevate your understanding and contracting knowledge on the American Contractor Show. Alright guys, we are out in Phoenix, Arizona, here in the sun with Jonathan Sherwood and Paul Reed to kind of get a little behind the scenes look into what you guys do every day. So dude, thank you so much.
Yeah man, it's pretty cool you guys carve out some time to come hang with us today. I know we're going to jump on a few leads that Paul's arranged. I know we worked together. Northwest just recently completed 80 buildings in Phoenix. Nice. That had two different types of roof systems. They had some fluid applied, which is some foam and coating, and then they removed some Decra, I believe.
Removed Decra,
yeah. It went back on with some asphalt systems. So gonna see what we do today, and I'm sure we'll be on the phone most of the time, but we'll be getting a little bit of that. And what else do we got in store for them?
You know, really, it's just kind of the life of Paul and John during the day. There's going to be a lot of phone calls, a lot of Zoom calls that we're on during the day. In between those, we're jumping on roofs and trying to sell deals out here. You know, just really kind of establish this market and really kicking it off out here. And you know, there's a ton of foam and coatings out here, so who better to bring out than John? It's kind of one of those deals I don't really know. I'm not an expert in foam and coatings, and so I'm not too proud to reach out and say, hey, here's what's going on. We have a great opportunity, and we bring in the guy that you know has it figured out.
We get to see what two legends in the industry do on a normal day in Phoenix, Arizona. So let's go to work, guys.
It's a straight hustle.
Jonathan gave us some Bang Pina Colada drinks.
Yeah, you can't ride in the car with me if you don't have a Bang, because we gotta all be moving at the same speed. We got a lot to do, so we're gonna jump roofs, check on a job, make phone calls, just keep everything moving. And there's so many different things going on right now other than just selling commercial roof restorations and commercial replacements or layovers. Then there is obviously all the different conferences and stuff that we have going on. We're prepping for the Commercial Roofing Academy, which is next week. We got the Win the Storm coming up. Then I have Ishmael running all the social media, speaking engagements. I opened an e-commerce building the other day. We got some cryptocurrency stuff going on. So it's just wild with all the phone calls back and forth. And unfortunately, I had that pipe burst in one of my houses. It's got a few $100,000 worth of damage. So now I'm actual insured in a situation that's on the other side of the coin.
You're dealing with an actual insurance claim yourself.
I'm the insured, and I have a claim myself, and it was
that's wild, dude.
Really bad damage on a beautiful home, and we're trying to get that taken care of. So I brought in Pate Smith and MMA.
Nice.
And I talked to them this morning. I feel a lot better. I also brought in Nick Fursell from Atlas Restoration. He lives 12 minutes from it, and we're friends as well. And I'm just thankful that I'm in an industry with a lot of good people that I know, because if I didn't have those people, and I'm looking at what some of the other people are dealing with, my heart goes out to them, because people are 2 weeks away from getting water mitigation even done, and my guys are doing it the next day after it happened. So I'm just very thankful, and even with what I have, I'm still a little stressed out about it, but God will take care of me. But it just really makes me think about the other people that have had all those pipe bursts, and my heart goes out to them. So hopefully we can all work together and get people taken care of that have experienced some loss during this polar vortex in Texas.
Yeah, for real, man. It's that's a weird deal for sure.
And you know, it was just like, I'm from Denver, So, you know, to me, it was just a typical snowstorm in Denver. I was out driving my truck doing stuff, but Texas wasn't prepared for it and wasn't ready to handle it, and they're not used to it, so I could see how it was very troublesome for them. But I mean, one of the days, the coldest it got in my area was 0 in the middle of the night, but most of the time it ranged from single digits to, you know, low 20s, which is pretty typical where I'm from. But those houses, they weren't ready for that.
No, they're not. They're built totally different, that's for sure. Dude, so we're gonna go look at roofs though, right?
Yeah, we're gonna look at roofs, because that's my favorite thing to do.
That's your favorite thing to do. Let's talk a little bit about the Jonathan Sherwood business.
Sure.
So, just to kind of give people an idea of what you do, because I think a lot of people think you just work with 1 or 2 contractors, but that's totally not the case.
Correct.
How does the Jonathan Sherwood business really work?
So, you know, I get that question all the time because guys are interested. What is this Roofers Helping Roofers? What is Jonathan B. Sherwood Roofing Specialist? And then, you know, we just launched that national fluids company, which is called Surefire Seamless Systems. And my partner is Will Miller, who is also the CEO of Priority Roofing and Contracting. But so I wear a lot of different hats. Obviously, there's the Roofers Helping Roofers, which consist of consulting, workshops, turnkey, field training. I'll go out there, I'll put the other contractor's shirt on, I'll represent them, I'll show them how I gather my data, I'll build the comprehensive line item scope of work and proposal, I'll tell them what they need to sell it at to be aggressive, I'll leave the meat on the bone for them, and I'll help them close it and then do the full turnkey application or installation. Those are guys, you know, that are doing no commercial or maybe 10, 20% commercial, 80, 90% residential, and looking to get propelled into commercial. And then I have other clients like Northwest who are multi-million-dollar operations with huge commercial divisions that do tons of large roofing systems all over the nation. They'll just bring me in for my specialty, and that's just to give them the turnkey application. I work with contractors all over the nation. My favorite places to work and where I do a lot of my work is going to be obviously the state of Texas, Colorado, Arizona, Florida.
So then do you think that the contractors are your clients or the property owners your clients?
You know, I'm going to say it's a mixture of both.
Oh, it's right here.
Mixture of both. I have a lot of contractors as my clients, and then I have a lot of retail where I work directly with investors. Like, for instance, a good example is multifamily. I have a lot of B and C class syndicate investors who find deals to procure and fulfill and bring in passive investors, and then they have to make restorations to those properties. Roofs are almost always one of them. So I do a lot of stuff directly with them. Strip mall owners, any type of property manager, HOA boards, things of that nature, and even owner-operated businesses. So I would say the vast majority of my business for actual roofing is going to be other roofing contractors, and the ones I just labeled off, I only get 1 or 2 claims a year, which I call the home runs. I don't get a lot of claims on more retail work. And then obviously my speaking and consulting, it'd be the other half of what everything's really.
But you've built relationships with a lot of these large commercial or property owners that have properties all over the nation, right?
That's correct.
So then you just basically take it to your network of contractors and find someone that'll do the work.
So that's how it was operating for a while until I opened Surefire Seamless Systems. Now we have all the equipment and everything in-house. I still have some really good fluid applied companies that I have great relationships with in the industry that I'll use for overflow, but we're now national and in-house. So we mobilize to those states that I just went over with you.
Okay.
And everybody is actual employees, all the equipment, everything is ours. So I basically built everything up to have my own national foam and fluid company with my partner.
What if you get a job in a state that you don't want to service?
Then I have a few different options. So I have a really good network of other, obviously, applicators. I'll contact them, and depending on what it is, you know, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. You always hear me talking about celebrating other people's wins. So it may be somewhere I just hand it off to a good contractor that I know is going to take care of them just to keep the relationship whole. If it's something real big, we'll find out a way for everybody to win. But you know, with Roofers Helping Roofers, it's not all about monetary gain. It's about having a heart and a passion for the industry and generally helping. Or I have relationships like Florida. I like to work in Florida, but it can really beat up the equipment to move it that far. So I've leaned on my manufacturer to build relationships with local guys, tropical, to set me up there where I have access to their equipment and can work directly through them, just so I'm not moving the equipment. I like to keep my equipment around Arizona, Colorado, Texas. When we do Florida, I try to do stuff locally in Florida. Plus, that far across the United States, client feels more comfortable with the local operation that's backed by the manufacturer. But I'll still be the subcontractor sales consultant on the file.
That's cool. So, roofers helping roofers, then how does that work?
Well, that works in a multitude of different fashions. You know, it originally just started with guys just calling and FaceTime and asking questions. I'm just answering questions and passing along subs and helping them with stuff. And then I realized that there was a niche to be developed in the industry working directly with other contractors. And we didn't have to be necessarily competitors, but we could be found as partnerships. And I had to make that niche, make the contractor that was bringing me the deal the main focus. And that had to be my raving fan client. So I knew they had to make the money off the deal. So I had to have aggressive pricing with full turnkey operations, with them still having all the meat on the bone, because otherwise it made no sense. So I make the least amount of monies on the deal, but I quantify so many square feet. That's how my niche actually works. So that was one side of it. The other was just going in and doing workshops. And for me, I'm all about the Gary Vee model. I love to give everything away for free.
Right.
So I just go in, teach workshops, people try to pay me, I don't worry about it. And in doing that, you would be like, wow, you know, I'm supposed to be doing this stuff to make money, but I get so many deals completely organically that we do great in the business just by giving away all the value for free. So we go out and do workshops, we'll do training, we'll put people behind the gun, we'll show them how to spray a little foam, we'll do anything we can to help. So we do the trainings, do the workshops, we do speaking at events and stuff at the conferences, we do obviously out in the field work in the turnkey application, we help build proposals, we'll even go help and sell and procure and fulfill the contracts for the people.
So help them basically build out a commercial division.
So great example. Let's talk about a great example. One of my favorite clients and friends was Select Construction. Okay. Select Construction, when I started them, was completely residential. Now they have multiple offices. I did a 200,000 square foot single ply layover with them. I've done several 100,000 square foot foam and fluid applications. I worked with them, they learned a lot, great guys. Now they got office in Fort Worth, office in Prosper, tons of guys, complete commercial roofing division. Just the other day they contacted me, thanked me for everything I'd done for them, bought their own foam rig, their own coating rig, running all their own stuff now, and basically duplicated who I was within themselves. Because here's the reality of it. Even though a little piece of my ego and my pride said, man, that was a great client, there was a lot of resources coming in from that. Business is stealing shamelessly. Entrepreneurs find out what works and they apply it and make it work. Everybody that I'm working with that's getting into commercial, I suspect to get to the point where they don't need me anymore, or they're just bringing me in on really large stuff. If they do it appropriately and I'm free with my information, I'm consistently churning new clients. And then I have the large ones like I just talked about, like with Northwest and some of the other guys. They're so big, they just bring me in for what they considered a specialist in, would be foam and fluids, and just expect me to come in, low price, do it the way they want and knock it out. But those smaller guys, just trying to get them up to where I'm at and let them, you know, pick off what they need from me, put their own twist on it, and start doing their own thing. So I'm super proud of Select. That's a great case study. Those guys blew up and they're doing it on their own now.
That's cool. All right, Jonathan, so what are we looking at now?
You know, I'm not 100% certain, but I looked briefly at the photograph that Paul showed us, and from that street view, it looked to me like we were looking at a pre-existing metal system, which I love those. I call those a cream puff in the restoration world because they mechanically shed the water right off.
Right.
And, you know, so hopefully when we get on this thing, that's what it is, and we can find a great restoration there. But being a fluid guy, those are one of the things that I look for the most, because getting water off the roof is the best thing you could possibly do. So if it's already doing it on its own, and it's pretty functionable, we can usually restore them, and unless they get some type of act of God, they'll be done with that roof for 10, 15, 20 years, depending on what type of system and restoration and dry film thickness they want done after the product is cured.
You know, dude, you're one of the only roofers I know that drives a Maserati.
Yeah, you know, I don't typically drive a Maserati while I'm roofing. In fact, I feel kind of weird doing it. And this is my friend Paul's.
Where do you put your ladder?
Yeah, this is my friend Paul's, and the ladder's in his truck, and I'm usually in there with him when I'm in Arizona, or I'll have a truck with me, but I usually drive around a truck just like everybody else. So when I'm here, I do this, but it's so weird driving around a Maserati and jumping roofs. They probably look at me and be like, who is this guy, and what in the world is he doing? And we see the radar detectors going wild, and we're not even moving, so that's weird.
Well, let's do it, dude. Let's go check out this roof.
All right.
Mark this location.
Well, you guys are based in Colorado, though. How much work are you doing in Phoenix now?
Right now, geez, probably running 2 to 3 jobs a day here.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So this is becoming a pretty big market for you.
Yeah. So this will be. I feel that it'll probably be do as well as Denver over the next 6 months. I'll have it cranked by then.
And it just doesn't hurt that it's nice and warm here in the winter.
That's why I'm here. But you know, I've said a lot. I've said this for years, that I feel like a person, if they actually have any type of drive or ambition, can literally go to any city in America and open up a roofing company.
Yep.
You know, that you really can. You know, so this isn't your typical storm market, you know, where you're knocking on doors and, you know, asking for an inspection because they have storm damage or hail or wind or anything like that. But if you go to most cities in America, like literally any city in America, there's an issue on most roofs. And so at that point, it's coming in there and educating the owner of, you know, why we need to take care of this roof now, be it offering service, repairs, or maintenance. It's not always going to be full replacements, but you can make a very scalable business by doing repairs and maintenance.
It's how much of your business is repairs and maintenance?
Probably about 20%.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be close to 20%.
And then when you do those repairs and maintenance, you're just hoping that someday, when the time comes,
Yes. So I'm a huge believer in really the repair, maintain, replace model. That's part of our company motto. But with that being said, if you come in and you're able to repair, maintain, replace, eventually replace, but the repair and maintain, there's not too many companies that actually will focus on that. You know, 9 out of 10 guys are going to walk into a building and they're going to knock on the door and they're going to try to push for replacement. And you know, we're talking a lot of money that you're going to pull out of an asset owner's pocket. Most of them aren't going to do that, but they are interested in protecting their investment. And so if you can do repairs and maintenance and you can create a raving fan out of that, this is kind of a long-term play. So knowing like this next building we're going to get on, there's a 99.9% chance they don't need a new roof, but there is a 90% chance that they do need some type of repair or maintenance. And so if I could come in, I could lock them in on a repair and maintenance contract over the next 5 years, they're eventually going to need a roof. And if I've created a raving fan out of this customer, they're not going to call anybody else.
Yeah.
They're not going to even talk to anybody else, and we're going to come in and we're going to replace this roof.
It's all about the relationship.
It's all about the relationships, and it's something that we started about 5 years ago, is building that relationship, because most people don't have the, you know, really the vision about next year. So it takes a lot to budget and plan, you know, to get by today, because something has to happen today for me to survive, for me to be able to pay our bills and to function. So those things have to be in place, but you got to get into a place where I'm never going to wake up on January 1st and realize that like I'm at $0, because that's what most roofing companies do every year. They're waiting for that next storm. So when they wake up January 1st, they went to bed the night before and they were a $10 million a year company. And they woke up on January 1st, they're at 0, and they literally got to rebuild their company year in and year out. And so you have a lot of guys that just, they can't rebuild it. That's why so many people go out of business. So not only do we focus on today, but we already plan for we're already in 2022, planning for 2022,
That's
2023. Awesome. So I refuse to wake up on January 1st and be like, man, I'm at $0. So we go into a year and, you know, we'll have, I can't remember the exact number, but say this year, over 30 million, you know, pretty much pre-sold for this year. And so at that point, you can kind of work from a seat of power, and you could kind of forecast, you know, on a large scale, and really get out here and build these relationships and these relationships. These are roofs that I'm going to be replacing in the year 2024.
Let's go climb some roofs.
Yep. Of them.
There's skylights, right?
They're skylights, yeah.
So
And don't walk in front of the coolers.
It's all way rusted out right there too.
what do you do on these skylights for your fluid?
So you have a couple different options you can do here.
I'll replace them.
Yeah, these are old, but if you can put a clear silicone on them,
Okay.
you can replace them, or you can do a retrofit metal panel drop if they don't want to have the light inside, and just go over the top of it.
With another metal panel?
Yep, and what they've done here is that these are retrofit panel drops right here. So this is probably rusted out as bailiff,
Yeah,
so
don't watch
it's
this.
fabricated to fit. They dropped it right over the pre-existing metal system.
So this is a retrofit right here?
This is a retrofit panel drop.
Cool.
This is a cream puff of a roof though.
Easy one.
Oh yeah, look at it. I mean, you already got positive metal drainage.
So, John, I went and talked to the facilities manager. They expressed they've got a ton of leaks around every unit.
Okay.
That they're all, you can see from the inside where they're all actually rusting out and rotting out.
Okay.
So I did tell him that the system that we would be interested in giving them a solution of a full SPF on the whole thing.
Okay.
On there, number one. Number two, doing a hybrid system, coming in, foaming around these, cricketing on there, and then doing a fluid pipe after that. So that's what they've been, their pre-expectations are.
Okay. Now on the foam, are we wanting to fill the pan completely, or just go over it with an inch and then go back over it again?
I want to give them two options. About the one option that I just told them was to come in here and foam the whole thing.
So, but
The whole thing.
foam 1 inch or fill the pan completely, like all the way up to the top of the
Foam 1 inch.
1 inch, okay.
Yeah.
So they still have the ribs.
Yes, so they'd still have the ribs.
Okay.
So it'd be a
That's
1 inch of
a lot
foam. Yeah, be 1 inch of foam over the whole thing. One option. Second option, hybrid system.
Okay.
Do your foam on your penetrations.
Does the foam give you any R value?
Yeah. So for every inch of foam, you get 6.9 R value. And for every inch of ISO, after the new IRC codes, you get 5.5. So you get a higher R value rating for a lower cost price point. So I'll go over those two systems that he just mentioned to the client that we'd be bidding out. The full foam, what we would do is we would do an extensive power wash with a tropical 652 roof rinse, and that would help promote positive adhesion. Then we would go over this with a tropical Eterna-Foam, which is a 2.8 pound HFO closed cell spray polyurethane foam over the entire system. And then the only thing that foam doesn't do, it's waterproof, does all the heavy lifting, but it's not UV protected. So we would need to put some sunscreen on it. So we'd go with the tropical 901 acrylic, and we'd put about 2 gallons per square coverage rate and a crosshatch pattern, meaning we'd go all the way across the roof with 1 gallon per square vertical, and then we'd go all the way across the roof 1 gallon per square horizontal. The other type that he mentioned was a hybrid, so that's going to be a foam as needed type scenario. The thing I like about this roof, you don't see a whole lot of rust. You can see they took care of it with the retrofit panel drops. So what we would do is we would do the same thing. We'd do an extensive cleaning with the tropical 652 roof rinse, and then we would do only foam as needed, meaning stuff that fails on these is going to be the flashing details, the penetrations, the fasteners we would lightly dust, and then we'd go over the entire system with a tropical 901 Energy Star rated acrylic, or we can go with a non-sacrificial coating, which would be a silicone, and go with the tropical 924 and completely coat this. In my opinion, since it's already got positive drainage, they don't necessarily need the full foam option unless they're trying to get the actual R value.
Right.
We can stop the leaks and give them the same warranty duration with the hybrid, and it would be a lower price point, but they may actually want that. Now, concerns on this roof. Major concerns for me are going to be these corrugated skylights. We would either, depending on the condition, these ones would need to be replaced. Sometimes we can use a clear silicone. Sometimes we can do a retrofit metal panel drop, completely get rid of it if they don't want the light beneath the surface and make it a walkable substrate. And then these old school ridge vents, we foam around the base of them, but they always tend to get wind-driven rain and have leaks even after doing that.
Okay.
But this is, as we call in the fluid industry, a cream puff. You know, cream rises to the top. You know, so these are the ones that we like to look for because the water comes off.
Now, Paul, you just went around and took a bunch of pictures.
Yes.
What were you taking pictures of?
So we do a company cam report on every job that we're on, how they originally look, and then from company cam, I'm able to have my office staff grade an estimate off of that. So we want to come up and look at all the pain points of every part of the roof, document everything to show. This evening, a lot of times I'll get down immediately even, and I'll do my company cam report, and I'll point out some of the pain points that they have on the roof. One of the things, like on this one, when you look at their skylights are completely, gone. Yeah. So they have some issues where they're having a ton of leaks.
Is that from the sun?
That's from the sun. Yeah. So the sun just beats those things apart. So the company cam report, we write it up. I immediately show these guys by this afternoon that this company will have a report back showing here's what's going on. I'm going to provide them with an estimate of what we need to do. My office staff is able to get onto the company cam, look at the report, check out curb height, so I'll always take measurements of all the things that may be an issue when we go to roof this property or to give a proper estimate. So do we need to raise any curbs? How many penetrations are there? How many pipes are there? And so I'll document that on all of the company cam reports. So instead I never have to come back to a job, because my guy can see exactly what I see in real time.
That's awesome. Company cam's a great tool. Now, hey, talk to me about this, Paul. Because obviously, this AC unit here is condensating, right? And so it's causing some rust and stuff over here.
Correct. So on these here, there's a few different factors on there. So most HVAC units, they have the condensation line that comes off 9 out of 10 times.
Which is this right here.
Which is right there. 9 out of 10 times, they're either unhooked or these old pans are rusted out, so they just put water on the roof. So for years and years and years, we're getting a ton of water that accumulates, condensates, comes out on the roof, causes issues like this. And so they have an issue. So a lot of times guys come up. That's why it's so important to have partnerships with HVAC companies, electrical companies. These aren't really our wheelhouse, so we know this. When we come in and we redo this roof, we still have an issue here with this old swamp cooler. We know we have that issue. So when we come in, we want to be able to coordinate with them to kind of work on this, potentially come up, replace the pan on there, so we take care of all the issue on there. You're not getting a bunch of clawbacks on these.
Yeah, because would this ruin the system you're about to put down if you left it like this?
Not as quick as this one. Watch that unit. Sorry, I got scared. But yes, it'll eventually get that. I mean, the water's not good on anything. The silicone, it can hold a little water better than most products, but it's still not good. So we want to be able to get it off, provide positive drainage to get these off.
Yeah, this is pretty simple though, right?
Oh, you can look at by the way this guy's taking care of this roof and his condensation lines, he'll probably end up buying a roof for Paul. Because he takes care of his roof. I mean, look, nobody pays for retrofit panel drops and just takes care of it over time. And you don't see any of the corrugated fiberglass Skylight's actually broken. So that means if they were, they probably would replace it, see the panel drop, and he put some pookie on here where it was rusting out and tried to stop that rust right there. I think this guy will probably buy a roof.
This guy will buy a roof.
Yeah, he takes care of his buildings. He has pride in his building. Look how nice those are new ridge vents. Those aren't the original.
So we like to give, when we come out and we do estimates, we try to provide a good, better, best options. At least a good, better, best. I don't ever just want to come and pigeonhole them into one thing. I want to explain to them, here's what we can do, here are the options that we have, and here's an option that I would go with. And it's not always the best option that I'll even recommend. Sometimes, price point. Again, this is a partnership and a relationship that I don't want to just come in and sell them a product and never see them again. I want to replace this roof again in 20 years.
What are the good, better, best options for this roof?
So, a good, better, best option on this. So I did offer him the 2 to begin with, where we would come in and we would offer, a full coating, a full SPF system on there with the coating. The second option is to come in and do the hybrid system, which is the foam around the penetrations and then coat the whole thing. And then the best option that I could offer what's called just like a retrofit TPO roof system, where we come in and we flute fill with this and then put a TPO roof system over top of it.
Wouldn't that be the best option?
That would be, in my opinion, that would be the best option.
Would replacing the metal be a good option or not really?
Not really, because we start talking about price point. at this still, and interruption of business. So these guys run a wood shop in there. So when you start taking these things off, these panels, insulation's falling down, their business is shut down for a few days because, you know, this section of the building is wide open.
Right.
So what we do is we come in there and we offer, again, the TPO. In my opinion, on this particular building, we got great drainage. The best option for them would be a TPO retrofit system where we come in, flute fill, put a 60 mil TPO on this, and we could offer, you know, a 25-year NDL warranty from the manufacturers.
And NDL means?
No dollar limit.
Right.
Key to, anyway, I think for my success is definitely, you know, multitasking, aligning yourself, hiring people to ride with you, to do a lot of the busy work that I can't get to. I could be super productive, you know, as I'm driving down the road and I have someone sitting next to me and I'm just rattling off things they could do. And, you know, it's nice this day and age, you have Wi-Fi in your truck. Yep. So they could literally sit there and do exactments as you're driving down the road, or, you know, busting out estimates, finishing the company cam report, however you need to, writing emails for me.
You really like embrace company cams so well.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because I knew Gogan for a long time, right?
Right.
And I just was never a big technology guy. Like, it's funny because for many years, you know, when we're running residential, we're doing, you know, 2,500, 3,000 residential roofs a year. And then people would be like, you know what CRM are you using? I didn't even know what a CRM was. I was like, well, we have, you know, QuickBooks or whatever for our office. Like, what are you talking CRM? And I literally used, you know, a cork board with index cards. And so a job would get turned in and you'd write the company, the owner's the name, you know, the homeowner's name, address, shingle color, how many square, and that's how I ran the entire company. So those cards would flow through, you know, job turned in, permits ordered, materials delivered, job's gonna roof on, you know, Monday, roof, it's been roofed, needs gutters, you know, needs siding, whatever, when we were doing all that. And then, you know, called in for inspection. So I mean, I had literally a room with 20 cork boards, and I could just walk in. It was almost like the Matrix, and you just walk around and move the cards. And I was really against technology because that's what I knew how to run a company off of that. But we kind of got to a point, really, I think it was about, sadly to say, but probably 20 million, that it got to the point where it was almost overwhelming, you know, where we really almost run out of room for cork boards anymore. And, you know, my whole staff would show me, you know, different programs that we could use, be it, you know, Job Nimbus or, you know, Salesforce or even Trello, as simple as that.
I love Trello.
Yeah, and so we actually switched to Trello, which are literally digital cards, and I could track it like that. And then over the last few years, we got, you know, a little more detailed, and so we use Salesforce. But Company Cam was one of those things I don't think I realized the importance of, you know, documenting everything. You know, I just kind of thought to myself, well, just take a picture when you're on the roof. Everyone has a cell phone, just take a picture. But, you know, it was always a mess trying to use Dropbox, you know, or doing whatever, or people would lose their phone, or it was always just kind of a nightmare. And so finally, after Michael Gogan harassed me 74 times, I finally agreed. I was like, dude, I'll go to dinner with you. And so apparently the steak was really good that night, because I ended up buying like, I don't know, 40 seats or something on Company Cam. And now I can't speak highly enough about Company Cam. Oddly enough, I bring up Company Cam almost in every presentation that I do when I'm talking to a property manager or an asset owner or a building owner. I talk about the reporting that we use in Company Cam and how we're going to provide a report that's powered by Company Cam to get to them, and then we use it to, you know, show what it looked like before we got there, during the process and then after the process. And man, it's actually a huge selling point for us when we sell a roof.
Well, your sales process, though, involves you just basically doing the on-site visit, taking the photos on company cam, then you're sending them back to someone in Colorado or someone in your office?
Both. So a lot of times, so if I happen to be by myself, I wouldn't have, well, I did right now because we're going to the next one, but generally when I get down off the roof, I'll set my pickup just off of my cell phone, and I'll make the company cam report and edit it and highlight it and use all the icons, the arrows, and the boxes, and put on there exactly what it is. So literally 5 minutes after I got off the roof, I have a report that I can send directly to the owner.
So you send them that first? I
send them that first, and I show them, this is what we're looking at, this is why you have issues on the roof, and we need to, I kind of create the urgency. Okay. By using the company cam report right then. I create the urgency, and from there let them know that give me a few days, but we'll have an actual estimate wrote up to them, but here's what's going on right now. And so they get that report, they see it, they'll generally call or text back, email back, and they're like, yeah, we definitely need to do something, and I look forward to your estimate. So that's the first thing that we send out, is actually a company cam report showing the urgency of why we need to take care of what we need to. Because I feel that if I just go talk to an owner, they're busy. The last thing that most of them are actually even worrying about is their roof. They have a million other things going on, so I want to keep in front of them as much as possible. So I get that out and sent out to them immediately, and that's on their mind. So today, when I get time from the last building, I'll crank that report out, get that to him, and he's going to look at that report, by 3 o'clock here on Friday, and he's going to see the urgency and know the urgency, because in his mind, he knows he has leaks. I'm going to show him why it's leaking, and during this weekend, he's going to be thinking about Northwest Roofing, the report that we sent, and hey, we need to take some action because there's a storm coming up next week. So I created the urgency on, let him sit on it a few days while we are, preparing the estimate, and by Monday or Tuesday, when he gets the estimate, he's going to be ready to buy.
That's really cool.
So it's kind of a speed to market approach.
Mm-hmm.
And always creating the urgency. And obviously, if there's nothing wrong with the roof, I'm going to be the first guy to get off the roof, send them a report back, or if I'm not able to meet with them, but go in and tell them, hey, your roof is in really good shape, and congratulations, and this is something you won't have to worry about, but I want to come back next year and take another look at it next year, and kind of get you on a maintenance program after that. But if there is an issue, which most roofs do have issues, it's the thing is you can't get down and walk into like that last place we were at was at a woodworking shop. I can't walk in there and say, hey, your pipe jacks are rotted out. They have no idea what a pipe jack is.
Right.
The average guy has no idea what a pipe jack is.
And they're just taking your word for it.
They're taking my word for it.
Yeah.
So I want to show them, this is a pipe jack. Here's the hole in it. Here's why you have a leak right there.
It's a lot easier.
Yes. And you need to hire a roofer to fix this.
Why do most roofs, you said most roofs have issues?
Yes, most roofs have issues. So, you get into, a storm market area, call it like a Denver or a Dallas. Obviously a lot of those get replaced or whatever, but you pull into like just an average town in the middle of America. If you pull into, just call it, if I were to drive into California right now, most people, they sit there, they have no idea what's going on their roof because one, it may not be leaking currently. It may not be leaking, and that roof may be 10, 15, 20 years old. If you really think about this, a lot of the manufacturers may not like this, but most roofs really only do last anywhere from 10 to 15 years without needing at least some type of maintenance at minimum. Mm-hmm. They need some type of maintenance between 10 and 15 years. And then when we start getting into 15, 20 years, then it's kind of at that point, you know, you are starting thinking about replacement, because most roofs, again, you know, even though they may be considered a lifetime roof, they're not going to last more than 20 years. And then you take some markets, like say a California market, an Arizona market that gets extreme weather where the roof is just baking. At that point, you're kind of looking at, you know, 10 or 12 years that the roof needs something. Probably, you know, potentially even a new roof. So I look at most markets, you know, it's easy for most roofing companies to go out and sell residential jobs. That's easy, because most sales guys driving around, they'll see a house that you know, out of the corner of their eye, they'll catch some shingles missing or whatever. It's easy for them to stop and go knock on that door and offer their services. But how many people would walk over here to Coy's Auto Sale right here on our left? How many people would actually pull into Coy's Auto Sale and go talk to them about their roof?
Yeah.
Very few. So that's why I've always said, you know, I could literally go to any city in America, even in most hell markets, and go talk to Coy's Auto Center, because most guys, and me included years ago, would have never talked to that guy. No one would go to this machine shop right here and say, hey, you know, you need a roof, and they've got, you know, probably 150 square worth of roofs right there.
Yeah.
But no one would go in there. And so I've always said, you could go to literally any city in America and go in there, look at the roof. They may have hail on it, they may have wind on it, but it also may just be an old roof that needs some service and repairs and potentially replacement.
When you're setting these appointments for these leads, what's the initial pitch? Is it an inspection, or what is it?
Yeah, so the initial pitch, I mean, you know how telemarketing is, right? I mean, how many times do you get telemarketed every day? I get telemarketed 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And so
At least.
My wife owns a telemarketing company, and it's hard because they're all used to getting people to call them and whatever. So one of the things, it's kind of a mindset deal, because most people are going to say, man, it's really hard to get past the gatekeeper, right? I mean, you've heard that term before. It's really hard to get past the gatekeeper. So we got to change your mindset on there and go, it's not a gatekeeper, it's a megaphone at the front desk. That's a megaphone.
So what you find, Paul?
So after a full evaluation of this roof, it's actually a really good candidate for a recoat on there. There were a few blemishes in this roof. We have a few penetrations that need resealed. Also 3 to 5 different holes in this roof that were caused. I found quite a bit of mechanical damage from HVAC companies. That's a huge problem that we have in our industry. HVAC companies come up, kind of work on a lot of the units, and I think they just dump their belts on the roof. I don't know what happens, but there's always screws and nuts and bolts laying everywhere. So after I found that, I kind of confirmed what I originally thought on there. This is an acrylic system that's on here. One of the things that I use, I prefer silicone personally, so one of the things that I always use is when we rub the roof on there, and you can see the white stuff.
Yeah, the residue coming out.
The residue on there.
It's like chalky.
Yeah, it's chalky, so that's actually the acrylic roof.
Okay.
So whenever they come in and they apply this product, and they apply, say, a 28 wet film on there, it's going to dry at, they call it about a 25. And when I rub that off right there, so this roof is just kind of shrinking because it's sacrificial. So something that I offer them that I've had really good luck with, you know, again, how do you stand out in your market? What I do is I come in and I offer a silicone solution. Silicone's a little bit more money, but what we do at that point is we come in, if we lay 28, it's going to dry at, call it 25, it's always going to be 25. So it's non-sacrificial. So that's how we come in, able to offer a 15 to 20 year NDL warranty on this roof. And at that point, I always let them know, you know, hey, this is a problem that we're not going to have over the next 15 or 20 years.
No,
Here's your issue. here's the solution that we want to solve for the next 15 or 20 years. So that's how we try to stand out in the market, is offer a solution, you know, that most others aren't doing. Most others are going to kind of start looking at price point, and that's why they're going to lay an acrylic system on here. We're going to spend a little bit more money, provide a little more value, and this is a product that we're going to lay for the next 15 or 20 years. It goes back to our relationship that we have with them. We'll still be around, we'll still be able to service them in 15 or 20 years.
That's awesome. This is probably a typical spot, right?
Yeah, so you got some type of mechanical damage here by the roof hatch. Now the good thing about this is it's a closed cell product, so it doesn't allow content damage beneath the roof surface. So this, when we're going to do the restoration, Northwest will put some of that 9300 heavy body silicone here to kind of fill it and patch it before they go over it with the top coat. And I noticed over here you have some fasteners. You want to try to remove those from the roof. Stepping on those can create some mechanical damage. And this little opened up blister right here will give us an idea of how the application was done. So you can see here, this is a top pass. Every pass is about a ½ inch when they're putting down about an inch of foam. And if you look at it, you can see it's very honeycomb looking, which is probably an older Freon foam, which they no longer make it with the Freon anymore. But this is the top pass, got about a ½ inch. There's several passes on there, so there's about an inch of foam on here that we're walking on.
Okay.
And the good thing is, since this is just the top pass, even though this does need to be repaired, it's still not allowing any type of content damage beneath the roof surface.
How long can it be open like that for before it does start to cause problems?
Well, if we remember, we talked about it not being protected from the sun's going to tend to eat up on it and dilapidate it over time. That's the one thing the foam doesn't do. It just gets kind of chewed up, turns a burnt orange color over time. But it's probably not leaking in this area at all, and it could hold up for a while, but they only have like a few little areas like this, so it looks like they're taking the proactive approach. They understand their top coating kind of had its life expectancy. This is an acrylic, it's a 10-year-old roof.
You think it's 10 years old?
That's what Paul was saying, so they're about due for a top coat. Once the top coat, this thing's solid. This was a good job.
Started working on this job about 2 years ago on there with the property management company out of Denver. Property manager that controls 3 different states. He does properties in 3 different states, asset manager. And so he invited me down here to take a look at this property. It was originally re-roofed in 2010 from the hailstorm. Then they actually installed a DECRA roof system. It was tile, and they installed DECRA. The DECRA roof system failed over the last few years, and because of price point and stuff, we actually offered them a solution to come back with just an asphalt shingle on there because we needed to fit kind of in their budget. A lot of these CapEx projects, you know, they're budgeted, I mean, it's out of owner's pocket, so the solution, instead of going back with DECRA, you know, at a price point of $800-900 a square, we were able to come back in here and offer an asphalt solution for, say, around $400 a square, so half the money on there. So when we pulled that off, that was about 3,600 square of shingles, and then I think about 1,100 square of foam. And so what we did, you know, again, foam is not my specialty, and that's something that Jonathan does very well. So we partnered with Jonathan and his guys. They came down there and we coordinated everything and really just knocked this job out. Again, it was a 2-year process of building that relationship, and then, you know, coming in and offering a solution to put this community back to whole.
Let's check it out.
Did this deal, and on a lot of multifamily, one of the most important things you can do is, you know, your punch out list. Make sure, because, you know, technically you own these projects for the next 10 years. Your name is on it. So one of the things we wanted to do was come back and make sure that everything was, you know, A-okay. We found a couple issues of we didn't take care of. Simple thing is they didn't spray foam on the hatch patches.
Yeah.
Or they spray foam, but they didn't spray any coating. So, you know.
So
more likely
this
it's not
is
gonna be-
actually what this looks like without the coating. Then when it
Yes.
actually comes out of the machine,
Yeah.
it's yellow like that.
Yeah.
That's cool to know.
So we spray. You spray down. The foam is what does. You know, 90% of the work. Even probably more, 98% of the work. The foam there, it gets ate up by the sun.
Yeah.
So the main reason for the coating is to protect the foam. So the foam does all the heavy lifting, and then we put about 1 inch worth of foam on here. So I mean, you can poke holes in it, it's not gonna do anything, but put about that much foam down, and then coat them. So these were done, what, 4 months ago, and when I had an issue, I had a leak on one deal. I seen a few things, and so we just wanted to come back. I mean, no one would ever know, but it's do the right thing, right?
Yeah.
Type deal. So
No, you got to get it right.
you got to get it right.
That's what makes a good roofer,
Yep.
good contractor. Yeah.
So you can see some fresh applicated closed cell SPF right here. Like I always say, it does a lot of the heavy lifting. Since this is the roof hatch and the roof hatch goes directly over this isn't exposed to the sun, so that's why you're not seeing any coating on it as of now, but they're going to be coating it here shortly. But the only thing that the SPF doesn't do is have any type of UV protection. So we're using a 901, which is a tropical product, Energy Star rated acrylic, and going over the top of that to keep it from getting burned up in the sun, which this shouldn't be too big of an issue because it'll have that roof hatch over the top of it.
Well, guys, that was a fun day. Hard day. This is a day in the life of Jonathan and Paul, and you guys are just out here slaying the beast all around.
Trying.
What you guys are doing that's really cool, though, is besides letting us in behind the scenes here, like this is exclusive stuff that I don't think anyone else will probably has ever seen outside of your guys' companies. But you guys are opening it up to contractors to actually teach them how to get into commercial, just like you guys do, right?
We are. It's something I think that's been lacking in the industry for, since I've been in the industry. There's really never been anybody that have opened up their playbooks like we're about to do on there. I know Jonathan puts out a lot of content, on a daily basis and showing what he does, but I think from what he does and then even bringing it into another larger company, just opening up of this is the commercial playbook. Anybody can go out and sell a residential roof. There's a lot of academies, a lot of schools, a lot of conferences that you could do that, but this kind of the first of its kind. And so, what better people to do it than someone that's actually on them every single day, that's actually selling them, installing them, coming out and doing quality checks.
Yeah, and this is a multi-day event.
2-day event, Friday and Saturday, February 26th and 27th next week.
That's the next one, and then after that?
After that, they're going to be quarterly,
okay.
But with the first 2 days, that gives you a year of tuition, which there is monthly webinars, and there's access to myself, access to Jonathan, access to Steve. Any type of questions that you have, we're actually even going to go out and help you close some of these deals that we're going to teach you how to get.
That's awesome.
Yeah, what I think is really cool about it is, one, I've been honored to be a professor there, and I know that the Reeds had this passion for this, and then Steve Patrick kind of joint ventured with them. And where else can you sit at the feet of multi-millionaires in the industry that have made all the mistakes, like Paul always says, the dumb tax, so that you don't have to do it? Open up the playbook, like you said, and just lay it down for you, and then throw some leads in there and then work with you for the rest of the year. So those that are interested, Parker, Colorado, the Vehicle Vault. Going to be the 26th and 27th, 2-day event. 2 days. And you can get tuition information. Space is limited and filling up quickly at 1-877-ROOF-TEACH, which is spelled ROOFTCH.
ROOFTCH.
Yep, 1-877.
We're also talking about doing something later in the year.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked much about it.
Foam and Fluids Conference, and we got some support from some of the large manufacturers.
That's going to be higher level. What you guys are doing with Roof Academy is going to be like the Commercial Roof Academy is like in depth, getting into it, hands on.
Yeah.
We're taking guys, that have always thought about being into commercial roofing and just really never knew how to do it besides like go out and really kind of pay the dump tax like that we've already paid, and so we're shortcutting them. So we're going to give them, you know, their master's degree in commercial roofing, you know, in a short period of time.
And then what we're going to do with you is going to be more high-level knowledge, intro into the commercial space.
We'll have a lot of good speakers. Be myself. We'll have a couple other pillars in the industry when it comes to fluids. Paul's going to be teaching on legacy. We're going to have Tropical, the manufacturer, there, and have a lot of good stuff rolling. But right now the focus is the CRA, getting through that, which we also have Tropical there as well.
Right.
And getting everybody rolling on that. And then I think, you know, those that even go to the CRA can pop on your conference and get a little bit more in depth just on the foam and fluid itself. But I like that you guys are targeting that, because with the things that have gone on in the economy, with the CapEx failures and things that are going on, being able to do those roof systems with the same duration of warranty, plus being waterproof and monolithic opposed to water shedding and full of seams.
Yeah, right.
I think it's an important thing, because I think the perception to most people when you start talking about coatings is someone just went up there and put some paint on it. That's what I used to think for many years, that someone just painted the roof and it was a horrible system. So getting that out there,
they've
come a long ways. I think for a beginning they were, but they've come a long ways, you know. And I think what Jonathan has going with that conference and bringing in, you know, a major player in the industry and Tropical, you know, we're bringing them to the Commercial Roofing Academy, because one of the things that we want to teach is about the relationships and the partnerships that we have with our suppliers and manufacturers.
Right.
Everybody kind of forgets about that, how important that is. We can't do a lot of the things that we do without our partnerships that we have with our supplier and manufacturers. So that's a big thing that we're really going to be pushing, you know, with Jonathan's deal, and then again at the CRA.
Dude, you guys need to follow these two right here. Jonathan's always putting out great content. You're on a different roof almost every day, several roofs a day. Paul, you're just sharing knowledge all around with Storm into the New Era, now CRA. Like, these are things that can revolutionize your business. If you're interested in this, you've watched all this, and you're just like, I want to do what these guys do, which, trust me, this has been a fun day. This has been a good time. Then you need to just follow them, stay in touch, be a part of their events. They're giving this information out. Well, not giving it, but you have access to it like never before. This has never been done before.
Listen, John, here's the reality. We have both spent 7 figures in our education on this. I know I have. I know you have as well. I spent 7 figures figuring this game out, and so what we're doing is you know, we are going to release this, and it's for a very cheap investment. You know, it's $15,000 investment on something that it took us millions to figure out this game.
One roof, your tuition's paid for, and you've made money. One roof.
Yeah.
Oh, several times
One small
over.
roof.
One small roof.
Commercial
One
roof.
small commercial roof, and you're getting leads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, guys, thank you so much.
Thank
This has been an honor, and, you know, just to be able to do this, and I think everyone that's watching this is going to get a lot of value out of it, just to kind of get behind the scenes and see the playbook and see it all in action.
I'm excited.
That's priceless, man. This has been so much fun. Thank you, guys.
Right on, man. Appreciate
Pillars
it.
in the industry right here. Follow them. They're awesome. We'll put their we'll put their tags on there, their Instagram and Facebook and everything else. Make sure to follow them. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, John.
Right on.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Well, good day, guys.
Thanks so much for watching today's show. Make sure to like and subscribe our pages so that you can stay up to date with every episode. And by the way, this show is all about you, the American contractor. Be sure to comment, let us know what you want to hear about and what subjects you want us to touch on. We'll be sure to include them in a future episode. Thanks again, and I hope you have a great day.